Chapter 4, Blackroot. Dawn comes mean and early, a thin, raw light that makes everything uglier. We break camp in the hush before birds that don't exist fail to sing. Asa doesn't look at Gren. Gren doesn't look at Asa. I look at both because someone has to. The ground hardens and goes grey, then darkens again as we drop into a basin packed with old roots and glassy shale. On the far side, shadows thicken into a tangle the maps call Blackroot. The few who named it didn't waste poetry. Everything in there tries to kill you, and most of it remembers how. Stay high if you can, I say. If you can't, stay quick. I can stay mean, Asa says. That count, it'll do. Gren shifts the 2 packs he insisted on carrying, shoulders rolling under the straps like oxen. He's quiet, eyes on the ground the way you do when listening to what Earth says with its small voices. Blackroot begins with a tree that isn't a tree. The trunk's ribbed like a spine, bark white as boiled bone, leaves curled tight as fists. The wind passes through without moving them. A vine trails from a high limb, thorned in a pattern that could be letters if you were the kind of person who liked to mistake warnings for welcome. Don't touch the hanging ones, I tell them. They'll take more than you offer. I know. Asa says. It sounds like a threat. Maybe to the trees. Maybe to me. Gren says nothing. He watches the vine sway like it's showing him something he forgot. We enter single file, Asa first, because she refuses any order that doesn't put her at the knife point of a thing. I go second. Gren takes rear. The light goes green-black. Air tastes like copper. The ground is a soft crust. Dead leaves over hardpack, but sometimes it gives in small sighs, and the sighs have teeth. We walk past a tree with bottles tied to its branches. They clink in the wind, low and mournful. Something moves inside one, small and soft and still trying. Asa pauses, reaches, then stops. Her hand goes back to her blade. Gren watches her watch herself and, for once, looks away before pain starts. Rule for the rest, I say, voice low. They come at night, mostly. Mostly, Asa echoes. But there are prime ones, I add. The kind that can stand the sun if they want to, the kind that wear it like a coat you can't take from them. I swallow. You don't reason with primes. You don't reason with any of them, she says. Some things listen, Gren says, almost apologizing to the trees for saying it. Not with ears. Asa snorts, keeps walking. Hours compress into the size of a breath, and then stretch back out like wire. We stop once to drink. The water tastes like a nail that's learned to rust politely. My father used to say the world gives you everything if you teach yourself to say thank you to the wrong things. I say thank you to the wrong water, and we keep moving. The path narrows between 2 fallen trunks slick with a white sheen. Asa skims through sideways. I follow, sucking in my gut. Gren tries, then wedges. Hold, I say, hand up. He smiles like a man apologizing for being born large. I got it. He doesn't. The trunk squeezed tighter, fibers remembering how to grow. Gren's ribs grind. He grunts once, quiet, embarrassed. I jam the maul's haft into the gap over his shoulder and pry. The wood complains. The maul complains back. Fibers creak. Gren exhales and slithers through in a single huge shrug, then turns and helps ease the maul out without snapping it. He looks at me like I gave him a drink of water. I look away because gratitude sometimes feels heavier than blame. We find a clearing shaped like an eye. Sunlight drops into it and dies halfway down. In the center stands a stump wide as a wagon, rings like a record of wars. Asa steps onto it to scout the far side. I put my hand out without thinking. Don't. Too late. Her boot falls in a circle that looks like old sap but isn't. The stump breathes. Filaments shoot up needle thin. She jerks her leg back and the needles follow, humming like wire about to sing. She slices them in a sweep. The cut parts shriek, high and eager, and keep coming. Back. I jump up, shove her behind me, plant my feet, and bring them all down into the heartwood. The head punches through a web of something not wood. The stump bucks like a live thing. Sap. No, not sap. Splashes my arm, hot and sour, and smokes on my skin. I bite back the yelp. Asa grabs my collar, yanks me off the stump as it folds, the circle pulling itself tight like a mouth closing around a curse. We hit ground. The needles lash the air where my throat was. Gren is already there, hands on both our backs, lifting us like children out of a flood. He drops us clear, rolls, and slams his. Forearm across the stump's edge as it tries to close. The muscle knots like braided rope. For a breath, he keeps it open by will and tendon alone. The eye blinks under him. He bares his teeth. Not in rage, not in fear. Something slower. The stump slackens like a thing that knows when it's met more stubborn than itself. It stops. Gren steps back and shakes his arm loose, breath steadying. The skin on his forearm is cross-hatched with raised red lines where the filaments kissed him. He doesn't look at them. "Thank you," I say before I can think better. Asa wipes her blade and sheaths it like she's stabbing a choice instead of a weapon. "If you're going to die for us," she says to Gren, "die faster next time so I don't have to watch." He nods like that's fair, and that makes me angrier at her than anything ever could. We skirt the stump and keep moving. Blackroot tightens, the trees leaning in to hear secrets. The path hitches down into a gully where the ground's gone to ash and glass. Bones lie underfoot that might have been deer, might have been dogs, might have been children. Everything that ever breathed out here has been asked to breathe wrong ever since. We hit the culvert at noon. It cuts under what used to be a road and what's now a rumor. A span of cracked concrete crosses the gullet, rebar showing like a skeleton's grin. The drop is 10 men deep, broken glass catching sunlight at the bottom like a bowl of stars. We go over, I say. "No," Asa says. "No," she points. Threaded through the shadow under the span, figures. Thin, slow, waiting. Faces turned up like they smell the word cross. Not many. 5, 6? Hard to count where shade moves like it has opinions. Their eyes are closed. Their mouths are not. You learn to tell the difference. "Primes?" Gren asks. I look at the light on their skin. No. But they're hungry enough to pretend. Asa jerks her chin at the far slope. We take the wall, edge along, one at a time. Light steps. "Your feet are lighter than mine," Gren says, apologetic as weather. "Then go last," she says, and starts anyway. She's right. She usually is about the ugly parts. Asa edges along the narrow lip of poured concrete, palms flat, boots careful. The slab talks under her. Small pops, tired sighs, but it holds. She makes the far side and turns, crouches, blade out, watching us watch the not-quite-sleepers below. I go next. Step, slide, breathe, don't look down. Look down anyway. One of the things under the bridge opens a yellow eye and closes it again. Not asleep. Choosing to act like it. Gren steps onto the lip and the span changes its mind. The crack we all admired for how straight it was becomes a mouth. Concrete shears, rebar flexes, the world drops. "Move," I yell, but I'm already moving. And so is the slab, and so is Gren. He throws both packs into Asa's arms with a motion that looks like he's throwing fish to a boat. The weight catches her hard enough to drive her to a knee. She snarls, fights it, doesn't go over. Gren turns to me and pushes. I hit the far side with my chest and arms and no legs. Fingers catch the lip. My ribs clap. Asa's hand finds my belt and holds. The slab under Gren gives another foot. He drops to a crouch, all that bulk going low and useful. Rebar sings. The sleepers below wake like coins dropped on a drum. At me and grins small and shy like a boy asking if he did good. "Go on," he says. "Take my hand," I tell him, reaching. He shakes his head once. The concrete screams. He wraps one arm around a rebar tooth and pulls against the bridge itself, holding it the way a man holds the door against a wind that's trying to make a lyre of walls. The other arm reaches under, fists a mess of cables, heaves. For a blink the slab lifts a breath. My feet find purchase. I'm over. Asa drops the packs and grabs my shoulder, pulls me another inch that feels like a mile. "Gran!" I shout. He looks at Asa like a man looking at a stained glass window from the wrong side. "Keep him walking," he says to her. And then to me, soft as apology, "Tell your father I finally kept a watch." The rest of the bridge goes. It doesn't fall polite. It peels, slow and murderous, concrete sheeting away like bark. Gren takes the weight for one heartbeat, maybe two, and then it takes him. He goes with it, not clean. Rebar catches his shirt, his shoulder, his back. He disappears under dust and shadow, and the sound of 6 mouths below deciding they just got fed. No. Asa's voice cracks the word. She's already moving, sliding along the edge, reckless. I grab her, and she turns on me, blade up, eyes feral, like she'd cut me just for being between her and the stupid, beautiful, impossible thing she thinks she can do. "Let me go!" "Down there," I say, panting, "isn't a rescue, it's a sermon with teeth. Let me go. We can't—" She wheels on the slab, madness in her, finds a pocket of stone still balanced on rebar and leaps. For a second she's over the dark, knife in her teeth like a story we told once. She lands on the slab and it shifts under her. The sleepers below reach up with those slow, patient hands. I'm on my belly before the thought finishes, maul wedged under my chin, both arms out. The wooden haft is suddenly a bridge I built for one person in the world. "Take it," I roar. Asa shoves the blade back into her belt and throws herself flat, stretching the way only mad people and gymnasts do. Our fingers catch. Slide. Catch again. I plant my heels against the root-snarled wall and haul while she scrambles like an animal whose brain learned the word die too early and too often. The slab drops the last of the way, a slow surrender. Hands brush the soles of her boots. One catches, she jerks barefoot, and the thing below that took her shoe makes a little happy chirp that I will hear in my dreams. The maul bites my collarbone and ribs as a lever as I drag her up the last handspan. We collapse into each other on the far side like people who haven't yet decided if they're saved or postponing. The dust clears enough to show the bottom of the gullet. The slabs smash 3 of them flat enough to make the others think. The others shamble and claw at the concrete in a mindless rhythm that sounds too much like applause. Between 2 plates of broken walkway, something moves. Huge, human, stubborn, fingers wedged into a seam, shoulder jammed in where no shoulder belongs. "Gren?" I whisper, like the word might wake or break him. The movement pauses, then a pound, 1, 2, 3, like a heartbeat you can hear through stone, then nothing. Asa comes up on her hands and knees and screams his name into the chasm in a voice I didn't know she still had. The sleepers start looking up again. The daylight cuts their faces into masks. One of them opens its mouth until the jaw makes a new kind of angle. It laughs like a baby trying to learn the sound. "We have to go," I say, and touch Asa's shoulder. She shrugs me off like fire. "No?" "We have to go," I say again, and don't move my hand. The sound below changes. Not laughter. Footfalls from the far side tunnel. More of them, too many. The culvert breathes in. Asa turns on me, lips peeled off her teeth. "You made me leave her. You won't make me leave him." The wind shifts. Something sweet and wrong comes with it. Flour rot, wet bread, old milk, Blackroot inhaling. I think like my father taught me when panic wants to think for me. 2 roots, up the near wall into the thicker thorns and hope the vines haven't woken. Or backtrack through the needle stump and die tired. I pick the thing with a chance. "We go up," I say. Now she doesn't move. I put my forehead against hers, the way we used to when we weren't angry at the same gods for different reasons. "We go," I say softer. "Or we die down here and he dies for nothing." She goes, "I go." We leave a place where a man might be dying and call it mercy because that's the only word that lets you keep walking. We climb until our hands stop being hands and turn into animals with claws. We cut through a wall of vine that bleeds red. It tries to pull our blades. Asa curses, low and constant, a string of words that might be proof of a soul. I don't talk at all. The world does enough. When we break into clean light, it feels like we've been underwater and the surface forgot us. We collapse in a patch of dirt that pretends to be safe. I drink until the canteen tells me to stop. Asa drinks until I take it away, and she looks like killing me for it and then doesn't because she's too tired to choose who she hates. We sit there a long time pretending we're just resting and not grieving. He's dead, she says at last, not a question, not a wish, an execution. I open my mouth and my father's voice comes out, not because I want it to, but because a man becomes what he's heard the most. You don't name the end until it touches you twice, I say. Once to ask, once to tell. She stares at the line of trees like they owe her something and are about to pay. He should be dead. Maybe he is, I say. Maybe he's not. I want him to be, she says. And I don't. She wipes her nose with the back of her hand and smears dirt into the grief like a balm. I hate him. I know. I hate you. I know, I say again. And I do. We walk until sunset because stopping feels like an apology to a thing that isn't here to accept it. The world opens a little. Blackroot thins enough to make a man believe in flat ground again. The sky bruises itself into colors my father would have called warnings, and I call pretty because I'm too tired to pretend I know more than the horizon. We make camp beside a tangle of old radio towers that learn to lean together to stay up. Asa curls with her knife under her chin. I sit with the maul across my legs and the revolver at my hip and try not to listen for a breath I won't hear. It finds me anyway. Far off, deep down, counting. I don't go back. I don't call out. I sit with the night and try to decide which lie is kinder, that Gren died saving us, or that he didn't. When sleep comes, it comes like the drop from a broken bridge. In the instant before I hit, I see a forearm braided with red lines holding a slab of world apart. And I hear a man who wasn't good with words say a perfect one. Go. We make miles in the blue hour before dawn. Asa walks like she owes distance money. I let her lead. I let her spend whatever she has. At the edge of Blackroot, the world tries on another face. The trees thin into an expanse of salt flat and stove-top rock. The air shimmers like it's laughing. On the far lip of the basin, 7 rusted posts rise from the sand, remnants of a fence that once promised to keep something out or in. We stop there, not because we choose to, but because something in us knows to. Asa breathes like a bellows. I breathe like a man learning again. We keep going, she says, not quite to me, not quite to the horizon. We do, I answer. And if I see him again, she says, eyes on that long line where the world meets itself, I'll kill him. Maybe, I say. She turns. You going to stop me? Maybe, I say again, and that makes her smile for the first time since before bridges started falling. It's not kind. We shoulder the pack's Gren through us like gifts. We walk. The wind rises behind us through Blackroot, carrying pollen and dust and a rumor of a laugh too deep for throats. I don't turn back. I don't say his name. I keep a place for it in my mouth anyway, like a tooth my tongue checks because the empty hurts worse than the broken. When the sun finally clears the ridge, I see something far ahead, small and angular, glinting like a secret that wants to be told. Rail. Old iron cutting east-west, heading somewhere only madmen and fathers and queens would follow. The train, Asa says, and the word carries hope and threat in equal measure. Maybe, I tell her, and we both know I mean yes. We walk toward it, 2 shadows on a bright floor, and something bigger than us walks behind, slow and patient and counting. Chapter 5.